BlastBullets2D is a high-performance, free, and open-source C++ plugin for Godot Engine that enables optimized bullet spawning and management in 2D games. It's designed to efficiently handle a large number of bullets with minimal performance overhead, making it ideal for fast-paced, bullet-heavy gameplay. Not only is the plugin full of features that could help you develop your game faster, but it is also extremely easy to use for beginners without any math knowledge required. I'm going to show you how to use it. To get started, click the link in the description. The GitHub repository contains the unfinished example project we'll be working on. Go inside Releases, download it, and let's begin. You can install BlastBullets2D from many places, but the easiest way is to just get it from the Godot asset library. It's also recommended to have an add-ons folder where your plugins will go to. To spawn bullets, just add a Bullet Factory 2D node to the scene tree. We need an easy way of referencing this factory in all of our scripts. You could use an autoload, but I will use static variables instead. Make a new script. Inside, create a class named Globals and make a static variable that will contain our Bullet Factory 2D. Now, inside the main script attached to our level, we will override the ready function and set our static variable to the reference of our Bullet Factory. Inside project settings, check to see if you have set the input map correctly so that key presses correspond to different behavior. In this case, the mouse left click and the spacebar will be the keys used for shooting bullets. Go inside the player scene. You will see that inside the script attached to the player, we already have a bunch of logic. I want to focus only on the plugin. This is why most of the functionality like movement and zooming in and out is already implemented. You will also notice that we have a fire timer. This timer provides the cooldown time and sets the allowed to shoot boolean variable. Since the functionality for shooting will be called in the process function, we need a way of preventing the spam of bullet spawning. The timer allows us to depend on actual time and not frames. If you don't know how the process function works, I suggest you watch my other tutorials. Anyways, let's begin writing the shooting functionality. The Bullet Factory contains a bunch of methods. In this tutorial, I'm going to focus on directional bullets, since they are the ones that are most useful. The spawn function needs a directional bullets data instance, so let's create one and populate it properly. The example project contains some assets that you could use. We will have animated bullets, so each frame of the animation is saved as a separate PNG file. This is very important. All your bullet textures should face the positive x-axis. Create an array and preload these textures. Use them to populate our bullet data textures property. Set the texture size and max lifetime too. We need an array of transforms. The amount of transforms determines the amount of bullets, and each transform holds the position, rotation, and scale of each bullet. Create a node 2D and add a bunch of marker 2D nodes inside. Now, each time we want to spawn bullets, we will acquire the transform data of these markers and spawn bullets at their location. And the best part is that since they are attached to the player as node 2Ds, they also move along with them. The idea is every time the player presses the spacebar, we get all those transforms and we give it to the bullet data so that it gets updated. Congrats! Now we can spawn bullets. Also, I just want to mention that the plugin is so immense and has so many different helper methods that I've also exposed one for generating a grid of transforms. Feel free to take full advantage of all features. Let's see how we can implement collisions. Set the collision layer and collision mask using these functions. You can view the collision layer as the world where the bullets exist. If there are entities that are interested in detecting our bullets, they will have to track this specific layer. Meanwhile, the collision mask is the world that the bullets track. The bullets will collide only with things that are set to that specific collision mask. Again, collision layer is the world where the bullets exist. The collision mask is the world in which the bullets detect other entities. Another thing we need to be aware of is the monitorable property. By default, it is set to false. If we want our bullets to interact with enemies that are actual physics bodies, like static body 2D, then we need to set monitorable to true. However, our enemy scene is of type area 2D, and this is the preferred approach since the monitorable property will reduce performance when set to true. You will decide this based on your game's needs. Since the collision layer of the enemy is set to 3, this means that it exists in that world, and for bullets to detect it, the bullets need their collision mask set to 3 as well. Be careful and always use the set collision layer from array and set collision mask from array functions, since you can provide an array of layers and masks. You can name these layers in your project settings so that you are never confused what exists in which collision layer. Now that out of the way, set the all bullet speed data to an array of bullet speed data instances. The bullet speed data has to be the exact same amount as the transforms amount, providing bullet speed data for every single bullet. We can use a helper function to generate all those instances. Bullet speed data 2D.generate random data. We also have bullet rotation data if you want spinning bullets. Again, there are just so many features the plugin offers. If we play the game, we'll see that we have bullets being spawned at the exact marker locations and traveling in a straight direction with enabled collisions. Make sure that the collision shape size is set properly. After that, you can go inside the Bullet Factory 2D and temporarily enable the collision shape debugger to see if the shape seems too big or too small compared to the texture. Adjust it however you want. You can also see another advanced feature in action. Each collision shape gets reused when you spawn new bullets. This is the automatic object pooling. We want to deal damage when the bullets collide with an enemy. How can we achieve this? Well, when a bullet collides with an area or a body, the Bullet Factory 2D has the signals area entered and body entered that get emitted. You have to register callback functions and handle the collision however you want. How can we differentiate the bullets? I mean, we might have player bullets, enemy bullets, bullets with extra properties. Maybe some deal poison damage and others explode on impact. Having a single callback function limits this, no? Well, not really. You see, the proper way of handling situations like this is by using the custom data property. The idea is the following. You create a custom resource class with a bunch of custom properties. Damage, does it contain poison, is it from the player, what particles do you need to spawn when it collides. Whatever you think, just put it inside the custom data. Then you go ahead and make an instance of this resource and store it in the player. Just attach this custom resource data to the bullets data. When the bullets collide with an enemy, you are going to have access to this custom bullets data inside the signal handler functions. Just check if the custom data is not null and whether it is of the proper type you're tracking. After that, call a take damage function of the enemy, update the health bar of the enemy or whatever custom logic you might have, and you're basically done. This is how BlastBullets2D works at its core. It is efficient, it is simple, and it is very performant. These were the basics to get you started. In the next video, we're going to see the advanced features of the plugin, homing bullets, orbiting bullets, and so on. To access these features, we have to use the spawn controllable directional bullets function and then save the instance to a variable. From there on, you access this instance variable and modify any property you want. You can follow the documentation on the official GitHub repository of BlastBullets2D. Make sure to leave a star as well. You can support my projects on Ko-fi or Patreon. I will see you in the next video.